throughout the whole process, I was obviously Team Malachi. Wherever he felt like was going to work out for him. I'm a you know been living in Kentucky since '77, so I'm obviously a University of Kentucky fan. So from that respect, I was happy that he chose. But at the same point, throughout like I said, throughout that process, it was my role was to kind of support him, help him through any questions. He obviously has a great support system anyway, but kind of help him through things. And I went on several visits with him, and I kind of thought this is how it was going to end up, but until he makes that final decision, again, you don't really know for fact. So, I mean, that's just the one great thing about Malachi. Obviously, very, very good at basketball, but he's helping out. He calls himself the manager of our soccer team. So he'll help out and do stuff. I went to the game last night after our workout, and he's down on the field. So he's always, they had some pictures from our American football game on Friday night, and our student section is called the Kettle, and he's right in the front and center of the Kettle. So he's a leader in our school, a great role model to the kids in our community, and just a genuine, really good person. I mean, Michael was that same way. As I had Michael in middle school, coached him, and obviously Malachi and his parents did they've done a great job with both of them. But Malachi 4.0 student, and I mean, not only is University of Kentucky getting a great basketball player, but they're getting a great person. And I think the fans of Kentucky are going to fall in love with him. I think the biggest difference between those two is with Malachi being 7'1". So you could always see. I mean, we always laughed that the first time, one of the first times I met Malachi. My wife's been looking for the picture; she can't find it. But one of the first times that I met Malachi was when I started coaching sixth grade, when I had Michael, and Malachi was in the crowd with a Barbie doll. So we kind of laugh over that he kind of started out, but you could always just see when he played, he was so much bigger than everybody. From from moving forward, you can just kind of tell. But then as he got 6'7" in eighth grade, and then every year he grew 2 inches, so you could just kind of see. I knew in eighth grade he was going to be really, really, really special. I didn't know everybody was in the United States was going to be recruiting him, and he would be, 2 trips to Italy and, trying out for the U.S. national team. But I knew he was going to be a college basketball player, but just didn't know to what extent. But he's, like I said, the big difference between those two is 7'1" to 6'6". He likes to compare himself to Anthony Davis. And, I would agree with that comparison, especially defensively. Anthony Davis, a University of Kentucky player, obviously with the Lakers now, is on, Team USA, really affects the game defensively. And his offensive game was slow behind that. But now, obviously, in the NBA, his offensive game's improved. But, back in college, I think he scored 12 points a game, but was probably the best player at Kentucky because he just affected the game in so many ways. And Malachi, since he joined us on the high school level in eighth grade, he's always been able to defend, and his offensive game is just slowly picking up, slowly picking up. So I mean, I think that the comparison Malachi makes is honestly a really good comparison with Anthony Davis. Yeah, I mean, obviously a lot smarter people than me that are going to make those decisions, but you can definitely see the upside. He moves well for a 7 footer. As he improves his shooting, he's pretty good from 15 and in, and he's improving outside of that. But sometimes, at the high school level, getting him to take that shot and having, confidence when you're 7'1", and it's easier to score inside. So. But he continues to improve that, and that'll be kind of his progression. If he's able to be consistent, I think knocking down those shots, because that's what the game's turned into. You'll see guys go to the basket anymore, and they turn down layups to pass out to the 3-point line. So He passes really well. He can be a little bit like Jokic from Denver, where he passes. Obviously, Jokic is much more advanced than Malachi now, but you know what I mean. I can see that passing ability. But I think if he extends and is able to extend the floor, he's always going to be able to defend. I think that he's got that potential. I know in a perfect world for him, he would be 1 year, 1 to maybe 2 years at UK and be able to make that step. But I think he's already preparing for that opportunity. We're already, he already's thinking towards next season with some nutrition plans and some weightlifting plans and some extra workouts that he wants to do to prepare himself to hopefully step into Kentucky and make an immediate impact. Yeah, so yeah, we made the Final Four last year. So in Kentucky, you basically have 16 regions. Everybody played like in some states in the United States, there's multiple classes. A bigger school plays in a higher class and so on and so forth. But in Kentucky, there's just one class. So for basketball. It's different in American football, but for basketball, everybody's in one class. So the ultimate is to win your region and go play at Rupp Arena, which is where University of Kentucky plays. So last year we won our region for the first time, and then lost in the Final Four to the team that won it. So we really have one goal this year, and that's to win, win state. I mean, we'll go into the season, ranked one, maybe two, somewhere in that respect. We'll be the favorites in our region, but there's three really, really tough regions in the state based in our two largest cities. We're in the Lexington region because we're right 15 miles right outside of Lexington, which is where University of Kentucky's at. And then there's two regions. Louisville's our largest area. So those three regions will have probably 10 of the top 15 teams in the state, and only three of them can go play in Rupp Arena. So we'll have a lot of competition in our region. In some respects, getting out of our region will be as tough as the state tournament. But that's 100%. We have one focus this year, and we have a brutal schedule. We're playing in the most prestigious tournament in the United States down in Fort Myers, Florida, before Christmas, and then in the Beach Ball Classic down in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, which is one of the most prestigious tournaments, and we're playing all over the place. But when you have Malachi, and then we have another Division 1, or a couple more Division 1 kids on our team. Not at this point, one of them's a senior who's going to a small school in Kentucky, and then another one's a sophomore who hopes to be at the level that Malachi was at. But that has to be our goal. I mean, I'm a big, soccer. We call it soccer, obviously, in the States. I'm a big soccer fan, so I know all about Colombia and watch a lot of soccer. So and obviously interacting with Enelio over the course of time, the passion down there, and they've told me a little bit from what Enelio, the little bit we've talked about when he kind of was on national team and stuff that he did. It was a much smaller level than obviously it's at today. So you just look around the world, and with the NBA, and just like the United States, it used to be a kind of foregone conclusion that they were going to win whatever tournament they were going to play, they were going to win medals, and teams keep competing. So I mean, I can't think it can't do anything but help when you've got somebody such as Malachi with that Colombian heritage, to help those help kids to say, okay, maybe I'm going to pick up a basketball as opposed to the soccer ball at my feet all the time. So anytime you got a role model like him that they can look up to in Colombia, I can't imagine it can't do anything but help Colombian basketball.